36 of the paper thing, the much delayed episode 38, season 4, episode 38 of the paper thing. Much delayed episode as I had a week off last week, being down in Bristol, doing Bristol things. But now I'm back, baby, with 3 papers up for review in today's show. It is The Sun, The Times, and The Daily Mail. We're going to be starting with the goddamn Daily Mail. Sorry, The Sun. I'm just making so many mistakes. We're going to start with The Sun this morning. So many mistakes. But if you've been watching GB News, you'll be familiar with that. Although, of course, production values here with merely a webcam and a microphone outstrip the £60 million GB News setup. Hey, Slinker, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for rejoining me here on the paper thing. The show is live, we say in the Discord, for it is live. Hello, Use of Weapons, how you doing? Hope you're enjoying your holiday. By the way, massive McDonald's M on my back. So, just to note, the show is not sponsored by McDonald's, nor by lower league German football. Right, so let's kick off with The Sun, front page of The Sun. On the top rank, we've got Sterling. I know Kane will score. I would be dubious of that myself. Jabs for 16s and 17s by September is the claim of an exclusive story briefed into Natasha Clark, the political reporter, and there's a feature by Ulrika Johnson on her friend Kerry Katona. Yes, that's me, Shankly, well-known corporate shill. The main story is Harry's military meltdown. Oprah deal 24 hours after losing Forces titles. Apparently The Sun can reveal this. I would say it's the usual horse shit. On page 2, Berkow's praise for Boss Keir. This is ridiculous. John Bercow has joined the Labour Party, but Keir Starmer is not his boss, as he is merely just a member of the party rather than a frontbencher or anything like that. Still a hardly welcome news for Keir Starmer. Elsewhere on page 2, PM rules out 2p social care tax. Right, that means that'll probably happen then. Dominic Cummings, wild claims about life in government are way beyond anything from the thick of it. Peter Capaldi joked. He was on Mar yesterday, and Mar desperately wanted him to talk about that. On page 3, that isn't page 3, but is page 3, there's 7 days to Love Island, so there's an excuse to have one of the people in the new Love Island wearing a black lacy basque. Also on that page, David Beckham is apparently starting his own wildlife hotel, a bat hotel, so they badly Photoshop David Beckham hanging upside down. Hey, Studying Fangirl, thank you for being here. Glad you're pleased to see me back. Anyway, obviously the graphics on the newsletter are quite ropey, but I do that deliberately, whereas The Sun actually has some money. On pages 4 and 5, exclusive real reason behind bitter fallout claims Matt Wilkinson, the royal correspondent. I don't believe it. More propaganda for William and Charles based on Father's Day. On page 7, apparently Sid Owen won't be returning to EastEnders because he had an argument over money. The headline is, "Oi, Ricky, it's not worth it." Jesus. Hey, Mark Kenosis, you're right. It is the actual Mick Wright. What are the terms of service violations? Cops have been banned from sending emojis to each other, allegedly. You did say. Person in the room, you may hear person in the room talking. She's on a work thing, so yes, but the show goes on. On pages 8 and 9, over 16s to get jabbed. That's a full page spread for that. Oh, held up, not page 3. Yeah, but I did cover it enough that there was no actual nudity there. On page 10, in the leader column, they slag off Harry and Meghan as you'd expect. They say that they use the headline "tax suicide," horrible, in reference to if there was a tax to fund social care, that would be suicide by the Tories. They say John Bercow, Labour MPs are hailing Bercow's defection. This is boneheaded, with the stricken party facing a potential new by-election disaster in just 11 days. Oh, good, they can just blame it on John Bercow. Mark notices cops absolutely have racist emoji codes. Yep, definitely they do. On page 11, Kate Beckinsale has got blonde hair in a new TV show, so the Sun decides that she looks like Amanda Holden. She does not look like Amanda Holden. Margot Robbie wore some clothes. A woman accidentally texted that she wanted condoms instead of conditioner. That gets a whole half a page story. Hey Yuan, how you doing? On pages 14 and 15, no pity, I survived. Ulrika Johnson in interviews Kerry Katona. It was the conversation we were all waiting for. The Frost Nixon of our age. On page 17, a neighbour has reported another neighbour to the police, claiming that his parrot swore at her. So there you go. On page 19, the Blue Water bomb plotter is set to be deported. And Alexandra Burke is going to be playing the lead in a Tina Turner film. There's a completely made up story claiming that a dominatrix got a 50k government loan. They say it's an exclusive and they give it the headline Miss Whip Cash. But there are no actual details in there. It could literally be made up, and I suspect it probably was. Hey, Red Tixie, how you doing? So, come on, for fuck's sake, they have to know the lack of social care increases risk of suicide, right? Yes, I'd say they do. I just don't think they care. Here's a fun story of various dogs wearing yellow raincoats. It's raining coats and dogs. Use your weapons. The government should give 50k to all sex workers. Yeah. Why not? Pages 26 and 27, you're going to see a lot of this. Princess Diana at 60. She's not at 60. She has been dead for quite some years. 24 years, in fact. But anyway, they reprint an interview that Ingrid Seward did with Princess Diana all those years ago for some reason. But yeah. Then in tonight's TV, they recommend Devon and Cornwall, a travel log about Devon and Cornwall on Channel 4 at 8 p.m. Orangutan Jungle School, that might be nice. 7 p.m. on Sky Nature if you've got that. Use of weapons. Wait, Princess Diana's dead. When did this happen? All right, have a good time out, Mark. Do catch up on the filth on YouTube or on the Twitch VOD. On Channel 5 tonight at 7:30, lose a stone in 4 weeks. Doesn't seem like a good thing to me. And Turn Washington Spies is on the AMC channel tonight at 9 p.m. with Jamie Bell starring as a farmer who is recruited to spy on behalf of George Washington's forces in the American War of Independence. In Dear Deirdre, the casebook this week is Ryan's Lost Boy. I would simply not lose the boy. In the £50 letter, it's slagging off the Lib Dems, which, I mean, we can always get behind. Steve Horsefall writes, Lib Dem leader Sir Ed Davis says his party's knocking down a blue wall of Conservative seats after winning the Cheshire and Amersham by-election. Well done to him. But this statement is nonsense. The result was a local reaction to the HS2 rail route going through voters' backyards and will do nothing to further the Lib Dems UK-wide. Lindsay Grice writes, I'm disgusted by woke trolls bullying the Sun's Clemmy Moody. She's a brilliant journalist and was only expressing her opinion. Don't let them get you down, Clemmy. This was after she quoted Baba Black Sheep in a column in a highly loaded manner. Use of Weapons says, wait, the Lib Dems are a relevant political party. When did this happen? They've got a competition where you can win £5,000 in cash. You've got to do a find which of the 9 words doesn't appear in the grid. If you enter it, you will be on their mailing list forever. They're trying to sell a walk-in shower, accessible walk-in shower room things. In the sport, they cover the F1, the golf, the tennis, obviously the Euros. United are ready to make Paul Pogba the highest paid player in the Premier League, allegedly with a new £104 million deal. Sterling says, if I'm not playing, I'm not happy. It's been that way since I was a kid. Kieran Trippier called on his England teammates to give Harry Kane better service. And on the back page, Harry on regardless. He's still our most important player, says Gareth Southgate. So that's the Sun. We're back in business. It's the same as it was before I was away for a week. It's a minus 69, it's a negative nice for the Sun. A very poor excuse for a newspaper. Give me your scores while I bite some pizza and then do the roll call.
Garlic bread as well.
Oh yeah, nice. A double negative nice from Salinka Maya. 4 fishes from the Fishmeister General Yuan. Minus Ari's military career, says use of weapons. Studying Fangirl wants pizza. Yeah, I'm lucky that I'm getting some of Person in the Room's pizza. This is it's gift pizza. Right. So let me do the roll call just to see who is here on our first day back after the hiatus. There's me, of course. I'm the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. Also tuning in right now in Academy Impossible, The Silent but Deadly Carbot 14XYZ, JPulse, Red Tick Seed, Slinkermeyer, Shankley, Shankly, Snur, Studying Fangirl, Use of Weapons, Whatnot 5, and the ever excellent Yuan. Our second paper of the day on today's speedy dash through the papers. Hey JPulse, how you doing? Use of Weapons. I ate so much pizza this weekend and I cannot stop and I need to stop. Okay. Whatnot gives the Sun 0, which is also the Sun's value in pounds. Yes. Since Rupert Murdoch revalued the paper at 0. Partly an accounting trick, partly a recognition that its economic value is basically none. Right, so we're going to move on to the Times, and then we will complete the show today with the Daily Mail. JPulse says, I'm speechless at how stupid the Sun is. I don't know how you do this. I know, and I do this every day. If I'm not doing TPT 5 days a week, I'm looking at the papers and analysing the papers on Twitter the whole of the week. So, okay. Front page of the Times. Family hikes at 6 a.m. Nadia Hussain on raising teens. Southgate to stand by Kane. People are urging Boris Johnson to allow the whole Scots living all over the UK to vote in the independence vote. I'm not sure how that will actually be done. Just 1 in 200 Amber List travellers have virus is the claim based on most recent data. Whatnot 5, can you do a review special on Viz? Absolutely. I can, yes. I'll do that later in the week. If people contribute to paypal.me/conquest of the useless, the paper fund, I will certainly, I'll certainly do Viz. Viz is always hilarious. And then they've got a front page story here based on something a royal biographer said. Archie can wait until 18 to choose if he'll be prince. This is just some bloke's opinion, and it's given a front page story. That they had another story there, I guarantee you, and that is a late replacement filler. Jobs at Morrison's may be at risk as hedge funds seek to take it over. They are. It could be the case that wineries are started at the South Downs National Park. It's quite a good picture here of a deer in a field of flax. Flax is meant to deter deers, but this one didn't know that. Use of weapons says Archie.
No idea.
What's that?
It had no idea.
It had no idea. Yes. Archie will not be given to 18 to choose if he is to be guillotined in a Minecraft simulation, says Use of Weapons. Burkow denies joining Labour in the hope of securing a peerage. Whatever. Chris McRae says Viz is not as fun as it used to be. What is? Johnson can set nation free when 7 in 10 have both jabs, is the claim by Dr. Susan Hopkins, strategic advisor for coronavirus at Public Health England. The US has offered the jab to millions of children. Millions of Americans under 16 are being given vaccines as health officials warn that the country cannot achieve herd immunity without them. Under 12s could be offered the vaccine by October, and clinical trials are underway in children as young as 6 months old. 7 million children and adolescents aged 12 to 17 have already been vaccinated in the US. A teacher used the N-word in a lesson on explaining kids how to pronounce Niger. At what point was it necessary to say the N-word? Like, there are so many ways you could say that. You could say, you shouldn't pronounce this in the same way that you might pronounce a racial slur, which we don't say in this school, for instance. But you couldn't, but somehow he just had to say the word. The desperation to say the word was there. Use of Weapons has been a teacher for 7 years and has never said the N-word. Yeah, incredible, isn't it? Amazing. I've been through my entire professional career. I've talked in schools often. I studied education. I've never felt the need to say the N-word to children or to anyone, but somehow very tricky. Apparently, there's been a spate of catalytic converter thefts which have sent insurance premiums. Sorry, hay fever. Through the roof. As of today, there are new flexible season tickets that could save rail passengers up to £400 a year. Another good solution would be to make rail travel, nationalise the railways and make rail travel actually affordable for everyone. There's been a second death from a crash of e-scooters. I'm not a big fan of e-scooters, I'll have to say. Coins news. Coins news. You'll like this. This is good coins news. This is archaeological finds coin news.
Okay.
No, an Edward III gold coin lost after the Black Death has been found by a metal detectorist, in Norfolk. The 23-carat coin, known as a leopard, was discovered with another gold coin called a noble near Reetham. Helen Geek, good name, of the British Museum said hardly any leopards have survived because the coin was withdrawn from circulation shortly after being minted in 1344. The coins discovered were worth the equivalent of £12,000 in today's money, Geek said, which would have meant their owner came from the wealthiest levels of society. No leopard has been found with another coin before. The rare Edward III noble found with it is thought to date from 1351 to 52. The only coins in circulation after the Norman conquest in the 11th century were silver pennies until Edward III reintroduced gold coins. No one knows why he did that. The king introduced the florin, the leopard, and the helm, which were minted in early 1344, but withdrawn within months. Geek told the BBC for some reason they didn't catch on, but when 1 or 2 pennies were the equivalent of a day's wages at today's minimum wage rate, perhaps very few people use them. They were replaced with the Noble, which was worth 6 shillings and 8 pence. The recent discovery shows that the Leopard, worth 3 shillings, was in circulation for longer than had been thought. Geek said that the delayed withdrawal could be because the Black Death reached England in 1348. The bubonic plague pandemic spread through Europe, Asia, and Africa between 1346 and 1353. It's the worst pandemic on record and caused the death of up to 200 million people. The coins were found in October 2019. An inquest will decide if they will be classified as treasure. I'd feel that they will be, won't they? Isn't that pretty much inevitable?
I would have thought so.
Jesus. Right. There's a trigger warning for an extremely upsetting story here. Mother must share cost of child visits with a man who raped her. A rape victim is to appeal against a family court ruling which found that she must share the cost for the rapist, a former partner, to have contact with their child at a centre. It's insane that he gets to have visits at all. Stolen terrier. In good news, a stolen terrier was found 350 miles away and returned to her owners. Lola, a 9-year-old black Patterdale terrier, went missing from Perranporth near Newquay last Tuesday afternoon. A 34-year-old man from London was arrested on suspicion of theft and has been released on bail until July 8th. The General Medical Council is institutionally racist, says a surgeon. Omar Karim, a renowned consultant neurologist, had to sell his family home to bring the first successful race claim against the doctor's watchdog. Karim, 62, of Sudanese-Irish descent, accused the GMC and a hospital trust of treating him like a criminal. He said, from the outset, the GMC saw me as a guilty black doctor and withheld evidence that could have proven my innocence. An investigation had looked for material to support allegations of bullying against him, rather than assessing material fairly. Reading Employment Tribunal last week decided that. It found that the GMC racially discriminated against him in the investigation and prosecution. Who is surprised? Use of weapons. Bubonic plague ain't real. It's a papist and Cathian plot to undermine the yeomanry of England. Slinker Meyer. Also, e-scooters keep scaring the shit out of me when they overtake me as a pedestrian. I'm worried I'm going to start bolting like a startled horse. Yeah, I'm up there. Use of weapons is on team person in the room and says death to metal detectorists. Edward Lucas in the comment section says Taiwan is ill-prepared for China's harassment. There's an ad for Matt Chuckles Chorley's radio show, politics without the boring bits, or radio without the listenable bits, depending on your perspective. Stephen Bush says Starmer needs to stop talking like a loser. The Chesham by-election result is no disaster for Labour. Yet a negative narrative is emerging. Yes, it's actually good news that Labour are getting fewer votes. Only you, me, an intellectual. It's great that that Labour is getting less votes. You, crazy Corbynista, thinking that it's bad that Labour are getting less votes. Don't understand the 12-dimensional mega chess he's playing. Good afternoon, Yoldi Stomach Pump, and thank you for being subscribed for 9 months. That is absolutely fantastic. Much appreciated. Laura Freeman writes, don't write off this generation of COVID kids. I wasn't intending to. In the birthdays today, not happy birthday to aristocratic egg man, the Duke of Cambridge, who is just 39, but looks much, much older. John Agard, the poet, known for the book Half Caste, amongst other things, is 72. Very much happy birthday to him. Izzy Atkin, freestyle skier, Olympic slope-style bronze medalist in 2018. The first British skier to win an Olympic medal is 23. Judith Bingham, the composer of Ghost Towns of the American West and a mezzo-soprano, is 69. Nice. Don Black, the lyricist who collaborated with Andrew Lloyd Webber and on James Bond theme tunes, is 83. Ian Burke, the chairman of Studio Retail Group and the Rank Group until 2019, is 65. Zuzana Kapitova, the president of Slovakia, its first female head of state, is 48. Robert Charles, chairman of the specialist insurer Hiscox, is 70. Sir Ray Davies, singer-songwriter in the Kinks, is 77. Lana Del Rey is 36. Lord Andrew Dunlop, Scotland and Northern Ireland minister until 2017, is 62. Lord Terence Etherton, master of the rolls and head of the civil service of civil justice, until January 2021 is 70. Wally Fawkes, the jazz clarinetist and cartoonist, is 97. The Right Reverend Olivia Graham, Bishop of Reading, is 65. Baroness Kate Hoey, boo, Labour MP for Vauxhall until 2019, is 75. Sir Bernard Ingham, the Chief Press Secretary to Margaret Thatcher, who simply refuses to stop living, is 89. Juliette Lewis, actress in Cape Fear, amongst many other things, is 48. Ian McEwan, author of many terrible books, is 73. David Morrissey, the actor, is 57. Ray Newton-Smith, chief economist, the Confederation of British Industries, 46. Pierre Omidyar. I hate his surname. It's very hard to say out loud. Founder of eBay and backer of various odd journalistic projects, is 54. Michel Platini, the former France footballer and president of UEFA until 2015, is 66. Chris Pratt, the actor, is 42. Sir Malcolm Rifkin is 75. Lord Maurice Saatchi, co-founder of M&C Saatchi, is 75. Lalo Schifrin, the composer, pianist, and conductor, who wrote the theme from Mission Impossible, is 89. Edward Snowden, the whistleblower, is 38. Lana Wachowski, the filmmaker, known for the Matrix series, amongst many other things, is 56. Joko Widodo, President of Indonesia, is 60. On this day in 1675, the foundation stone of St. Paul's Cathedral was laid. In 1937, lawn tennis at Wimbledon was televised for the first time. And the last word in this column today goes to Starhawk, an American activist. In her book, The Fifth Sacred Thing, 1994, each thing is sacred, meaning that each has inherent value that cannot be ranked in a hierarchy or compared to the value of another thing. Happy birthday, Juliette Lewis. Happy birthday, Lana Wachowski. And happy birthday to Use of Weapons' muse and one true love, Lana Del Rey. Fantastic news as Marine Le Pen faces a setback in France. Biden aides have been accused of getting jobs for their families. Surprise, surprise, nepotism rules okay in the US. The so-called Belgium Rambo, the heavily armed far-right soldier, has been found in a Flemish forest. He's been found dead, apparently, at his own hand. Front cover of the Times 2 today is what went wrong between Charles and Harry. They're a really screwed up family, as all royal families are, and Prince Charles is a nerk. There's your answer. The Belgian soldier has big Operation Gladio vibes, says Use of Weapons. It does. The owner of Fabergé, worn by Dua Lipa, has alarmed investors over its bonuses. Is a story in the business pages. There's a nice picture of Dua Lipa. McDonald's is going to open 50 more restaurants in the UK. Paul Johnson writes a column. Paul Johnson, director of the Institute of Fiscal Studies, writes a column saying, enforced home working is grinding us down. We must be free to choose. Did a commercial landlord write this? Well, someone probably funded in part by them did. Landlords see red over disgraceful extension to evictions ban. I can't even find a violin small enough to feel sorry for landlords, especially commercial landlords. In the Register, in the obituaries, Dag Pike, the maritime adventurer and much rescued prolific racer who served as navigator on Richard Branson's transatlantic sea crossings, has died. He was 88. Milkha Singh, the Indian sprinter known as the Flying Sikh, has died. He was 91. He set records and was, just like, it's a cool dude. Also in the obits, Martha should have got a bigger obituary, frankly, is Martha White, civil rights activist who sparked a bus boycott in Louisiana 2 years before Rosa Parks famously did the same in Alabama. Martha White, 31-year-old housekeeper, did something very similar to Rosa Parks in Baton Rouge, the capital of Louisiana, 2 years before. Returning home from working on a sweltering day in June 1953, White boarded a bus to find the only free seat was in the front section that was reserved exclusively for white passengers. She was exhausted. Her job meant she never knew what a chair looked like, she said. I looked at the seat and I sat down. A few months earlier, the Baton Rouge City Council passed an ordinance or regulation to desegregate the city buses, but nobody had taken any notice. White's action was revolutionary. The white bus driver ordered her to move, whereupon a second black woman named Pearl sat down beside White. Everybody's got to stick together, said Pearl. Nobody's going to get off the bus, and we're going to stick together. Police arrived. So did the Reverend T.J. Jemison, a young, charismatic civil rights activist and pastor of the Mount Zion First Baptist Church, who had been looking for a chance to test the ordinance. So too did H.D. Cawthon, head of the bus company, who told the driver to get back and drive the bus because the city council passed an ordinance that said they could sit down. Let them sit. 2 days later, nearly 100 white Baton Rouge bus drivers went on strike. Their families marched on the courthouse demanding the ordinance be rescinded. Other white people opposed the strike, with the Baton Rouge State Times declaring city ordinance is an important step towards the betterment of race relations among the citizens of this community and should be given a fair chance to work. The strike ended after 4 days when Fred LeBlanc, Louisiana's Attorney General, declared the ordinance illegal because it breached the state's segregation laws. But at that point, Baton Rouge's black churches, led by Jemison, began a protest of their own. They ordered a boycott of the city buses, 80% of whose passengers were black. The churches organised free taxis and car rides to get their members to work and held collections to pay for petrol. Soon the boycott was costing the bus company $1,600 a day, and Jemison was receiving death threats. After 8 days, he agreed to compromise with the authorities, whereby a few seats at the front of the city buses would be reserved for white people and some at the back for black people, but anyone could sit in the middle seats regardless of their colour. 7,000 black citizens gathered to hear Jemison and announced the compromise. Many thought he had sold out by agreeing to the arrangement and should have taken the issue to the courts, but the bus boycott proved far more successful than anybody realised at the time. 2 years later, in 1955, Rosa Parks emulated White. Tired after a day's work, she refused to give up her seat to a white passenger on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama, and was arrested. Martin Luther King visited Jemison to ask about Baton Rouge's bus boycott, then used it as a template to start one in Montgomery. Second one lasted 381 days before the U.S. Supreme Court, in a historic victory for the civil rights movement, banned segregation on Alabama's buses. Martha White was born in a tiny rural community of Woodville, Mississippi in 1922, one of 7 children of sharecroppers. Her mother died while she was still in her teens, so an uncle took her to Baton Rouge, where she attended high school. After a brief, childless marriage, she went to work as a housekeeper. She was a forthright woman who continued to fight for social justice throughout her life, but she seldom talked about her seminal role in the civil rights movement. Her bold act that day in 1953 may not have won her the global acclaim that Parks achieved, but it undoubtedly inspired Parks, just as the Baton Rouge bus boycott inspired the much more famous one in Montgomery. Parks' biographer wrote that she had been completely captivated by what happened in Baton Rouge, and that she and her fellow civil rights activists were in awe of that pioneering protest. Eugene Collins, president of the Baton Rouge branch of the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, told the New York Times, "We can make the argument that none of the rest of that history of racial desegregation happens without Martha White." Martha White, civil rights activist, born April 2nd, 1922. She died on June 5th, 2021, aged 99. What a badass. Hey, SK, how you doing? Yes, I'm not actually wearing a whole tracksuit. It's just the top of a German lower league football team tracksuit. Right, they're trying to sell you the classic Oxford blazer. It's a manager's special price, only £30. And also this knockoff Apple Watch. Oh, brilliant. I'm really glad. That's great news, SK. Good. And by the way, fantastic YouTube stream the other day. The YouTube zone was excellent. And on the back page, in the sport from the Times, Southgate, Kane will be in my team. Hamilton lacked fight, says Rebecca Clancy, the motor racing correspondent. And Stokes shine in comeback. Sadly, it will not be the one with Streaming Dojo because the other one got to us first. But also, that one has a gym and a swimming pool, so who can say whether it's good or bad? Right, so that's the Times. Give me your scores for that as we roll towards the Daily Mail and I eat a tiny bit more pizza. It's a triple negative nice from Red Tick Seed. It's a negative nice from Silinka Meyer. And Use of Weapon says, minus Prince William's baldy head. Red Tick Seed gives it plus triple nice for SK sorting out the new flat. Yes. Many golden tonties for that. 0 golden tonties for the Times. And a classic 3 fishes from Yuan. Okay. Can I read out some of the Prince William erotica in the Mail? Certainly. Okay, front page of the Mail. Revealed in a landmark Mail series, the real reason Diana was in Paris on night of crash. They've revealed nothing new, by the way. Elsewhere on that page, their Royal Highnesses, George and Charlotte, zooming up, being very here's the Daily Mail, being very weird about children they don't know. Use of weapons, in with the classic bit. Wait, Princess Diana is dead? When did that happen? And their main story, new 2-jab hope to free up your summer. My summer is adequately free already, I've got to be honest. Right, here we go. Now, Dan Jones wants me to read some of James Tozer's frankly cringeworthy prose in praise of Prince William. So here we go. It was an idyllic image on Father's Day, a dad leading 2 of his angelic children across a field to enjoy a sporting event. But it wasn't just any proud pa. The rangy figure casually dressed in blue chinos and an open-neck shirt was Prince William. His children, George 7 and Charlotte 6, both showed off the royal knee in blue shorts. These aren't ordinary knees. The knees of children that James Tozer does not know and should not be saying weird things about. The trio surprised competitors at the first Ron Sandringham event as their appearance had been a closely guarded secret and was met with cheers. Many noticed how quickly the children had shot up, with George coming up to the chest of 6'2" William, who is 39 today and he looks about 45. With the prince crouching and holding a microphone, they counted down from 10 and yelled go. The family then waved the runners on their way over 3 distances, a half marathon, 5 kilometres and miles. Some of the 1,500 making their way around the Queen's Sandringham estate in Norfolk paused to take photos with the surprise VIP starting official in the picture. One spectator said, everyone was taken aback. No one expected to see William, let alone 2 of his children. Runner stopped so they could get a selfie with him in the background. Ugh. I just vomited up the pizza into my mouth. On page 4, show us you care. Boris urged to tackle. Boris. The Prime Minister is urged to tackle soaring care fees ahead of crunch talks. Jeremy Hunt, who was the Health Secretary for years and shit-canned so much of the NHS, writes, it's a do-or-die moment for my party. Fuck off. There's horrible story about the British mother who was murdered in Greece. On pages 6 and 7, take a test to escape isolation. On page 8, cheaper tests would cut new variant risk is the claim. Andy Burnham is having a row with Nicola Sturgeon over travel restrictions. The big sort of Westminster bullshit narrative is Boris Johnson versus Rishi Sunak. Let's hope both lose. On page 11, war dogs. Dogs from Iraq who were injured, who have been brought over here and are up to be rehomed. I would rehome literally any of those dogs. They are all amazing. But big love for Stevie and Little B particularly. Actually, no, also Hope, also Romeo, and also Roby. They're all good dogs. These are the facts. Red, white, or green, the wine that comes in a paper bottle. An English winemaker has become the first in the world to commit to switching all of its glass bottles with paper ones. It's 5 times lighter than glass, but only for certain ranges. Right, whatever. Scientists apparently identify why people sometimes die from broken hearts. They found that stressful life events increase levels of 2 molecules in heart cells, which play a crucial role in the development of Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, or broken heart syndrome. Use of Weapons wants to send the war dogs to the dog Hague. These war dogs are victims of war rather than starters of them. Could supermarket giants fall prey to private equity vultures, says Alex Brummer? Yeah, probably. On page 15, various famous people saying nice things about their dads. Robert Hardman writes, they're the forgotten heroes of the British Empire, including anti-slavers and veterans of the Napoleonic Wars. Now a new charity's battling to restore their graves. But just one problem. Don't tell the woke brigade! Fuck off. Also needing to fuck off is Dominic Lawson, who writes, how galling that we won the vaccine race, but Germany's still beating us to the sun loungers. The Germans, we don't live rent-free in the Germans' heads, right? They don't really care about us particularly. But we, the fucking English, particularly the fucking English, just go on about the Second World War and weird 80s stereotypes created by the Sun and other tabloids that the Germans are a certain way on holiday. The Germans are able to go on holiday and act quite normally. Page 19, a whole page dedicated to the, nearly a whole page dedicated to the death of the really sad death of Shakur. Shakur Pinnock, 20, and serious injury of his girlfriend, Chante Husang, who was 19, in an e-scooter crash. It's horrible. Boris Johnson and Carrie Johnson's marriage certificate is now publicly available, and the Mail has obtained it, and they say who the witnesses were. Someone who studied with Carrie Johnson at university, and a PR executive that she knows. Whoopie-doo. They do 5 pages on the death of Princess Diana. Shock news, she died. Slinkermeyer says, as someone with a German surname, I can confirm the weird one-sided rivalry with Germany in this country is fucking wild. It is. I've spent a fair bit of time in Germany over the years, and worked with quite a lot of German people, and just don't suffer from the weird war brain derangement that British people do. The exception being people who work for the German tabloids, who are deranged in their own special way. On page 20, 28 and 29, Berkow denies peerage plot, but Andrew Pearce says defection is a terrific coup for the Tories. Andrew Pearce can go fuck himself. I mean, Berkow can go fuck himself, Pearce can go fuck himself, and Keir Starmer can especially go fuck himself. On pages 30 and 31, a double-page spread on this guy who makes quite cool art from pencil lead. That is pretty cool. Austrians do have some odd inferiority complex about Germany. That's true. Right, in the On This Day column, June 21st, 2021, on this day in 1977, the Daily Mail wrote, transplant pioneer Dr. Christian Barnard put the heart of a baboon into a man for the first time last night. 10-hour operation took place at Cape Town's Groote Schuur Hospital, where Dr. Barnard created medical history with the first human heart transplant in 1967. June 21st, 1984, when I was about 6 months old, the Mail wrote, O-level and CSE examinations are to be scrapped and replaced by a new exam system with 7 grades. A-levels will be retained in the shake-up announcement yesterday for schools in England and Wales. Courses for the new General Certificate of Secondary Education will start in 1986. Happy birthday to Ray Davies and to Lana Del Rey, also born on this day, but born in 1921, Jane Russell, and on this day in 1944, Tony Scott, the filmmaker, brother of the other filmmaker Ridley Scott, directed blockbusters including Top Gun and Beverly Hills Cop 2. But his first movie, The Hunger, starring David Bowie, was a flop. It is a good film, though. On June 21st, in 1854, the Rear Admiral Charles Davis Lucas's bravery during the Crimean War was recognized. It was recognized with the Victoria Cross, and in 1968, the Rolling Stones were at number 1 for the 7th time with Jumpin' Jack Flash. Quote of the day from Francois de la Rochefoucauld, the French writer, 1613 to 1618, sorry. He said, one is never as unhappy as one thinks, nor as happy as one hopes. Joke of the day, what you call a belt of watches. A waste of time. Use of weapons. I would love a baboon heart. Could just act mad and blame it on my baboon heart. Yeah, that sounds good. The Archbishop of Canterbury stood in as a big issue seller yesterday to make a point about homelessness and claims that God cares a lot about homelessness. Which, you know, I think someone needs to explain to him the massive flaw in his logic there. In the Inspire section, Jenny Seagrove talks about playing Hamlet's mother. She is 63. And Ian McKellen, who is playing Hamlet, is 82. It's an age-blind production. The Daily Mail can't get over it. In the Euros verdict supplement, down but not out. Wales through to knockouts despite defeat in Rome. Apparently patchouli oil is back. Apparently mothers and daughters should dress like each other in horrible outfits for some reason. The one lesson I've learned from life by the How to Train Your Dragon author Cressida Cowell is don't get hung up on being perfect, which is not bad advice. Apparently your husband might be cheating on you if he starts humming. In today's latest bullshit feature about that. They're trying to sell you various supplements. In the TV review, Roland White, sitting in for Christopher Stevens, says Piers Morgan's Life Stories Joan Collins was a 4-star show, while The Handmaid's Tale was worth 3 stars, returning for its 4th season. Pick of the day is Devon Cornwall documentary, 8 p.m. Channel 4. They also recommend all the other stuff that the other papers do. In the cartoons, Garfield has a donut and offers to give John the hole. Garfield has posted hole on the timeline. Chloe and her friend are drinking and talking about men. And in Fred Bassett, Jock's got a new bone and he doesn't want to share it with Fred. Growls at him to ensure that doesn't happen. Right, on to the letters and the straight to the point letters today. Jane Marshall writes, "So Matt Hancock is useless and Dominic Cummings is spiteful and vindictive. Tell us something we don't know." Sue Brown writes, "With all the hand sanitizing, masks and social distancing, we'll end up a healthy nation." Sarah Smith of Esher and Surrey says, "Have I been in an accident? Yes, a terrible one. I was decapitated. A nuisance caller is guaranteed to hang up." R. Heap, real name, says, "Am I the only person who objects to being addressed as you guys by waiters?" I don't know, probably. Barry Lazenby writes, "My 13-year-old Australian granddaughter told me mobile phones are banned in their classrooms and even at break time. Why can't we do the same here?" Many schools do. Phones are banned at my stepdaughter's school. It's very common. D. Sturman says, "Welcome to GB News. It's the 9-0 woke. It's not the 9-0 woke news." No. And Nikolai Tolstoy, who sometimes writes for the Daily Mail, writes a letter in. "Enid Blyton's life lesson helped to make me a writer," he says. Big fan of the racism. "Like Tom Utley, I adored Enid Blyton's books as a boy. The Treasure Hunters, it seemed to me, was the most exciting book ever written and contributed much in the genesis of my eventual literary career. However, I must also confirm that Blyton was indeed an unregenerate xenophobe. One of her short stories, which I read as a useful evacuee in 1942, has never left my mind. When the toys in the nursery came to life each night, they were mercilessly bullied by a toy soldier who prodded the poor dolls with his nasty, sharp bayonet. Finally, a sturdy toy elephant gave the bully his comeuppance by pushing him over on his back. Now I understood. Inscribed on the base of the culprit's stand were the damning words, 'Made in Germany.' So that was it. I became a xenophobe on the spot. What I now realize is to be yet more disturbing is the fact that I was but one of among 45 million other xenophobes." Oh God, fuck off. Fuck off. Name and address supplied writes, "My neighbour has a large field, and yes, they graze through the summer, but in the winter, the cows are out in all weathers, standing around on concrete. Rah! Yes, that Tolstoy is dead, but not this Tolstoy. This Nikolai Tolstoy is a relative of the actually dead Tolstoy. Today's recipe: orange and blueberry bircher. I mean, if you need a recipe for making that, I don't know how to help you. They're trying to do a best-selling no-fly cruise to the Baltic and St. Petersburg. They're trying to bribe you into buying dog food with this cute dog. Various other things. Equity release as ever. And in the sport, Kane will start. Southgate sticks by his struggling captain. Mercedes blunder cost Lewis victory. And that is today's Daily Mail. And the scores for that, please, as I do the final roll call and remind you of the usual things I remind you of. I'm the Broken Bottle Boy. Follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. In the mod squad is SK the Crusader. Do catch up on his most recent streams on VOD. They are excellent. In the chat also today is Academy Impossible, another TT viewer, Aiton, the silent but deadly Carbot XY14XYZ, Commander Root, Dan Jones 3142, Gurley, Japles, Maureen Skrell, Red Tixie, Slinkermeyer, Shankly07, Snur, Studying Fangirl, Tormtorms, Use of Weapons, VOK, Whatnot, Yodi, Stomach Pump, and Yuan. Thank you all for joining me here on the return of the paper thing. I will be back at all the usual times this week, 1 p.m. every day for the paper review. As ever, I remind you that if you want, for instance, there was a request that I do Viz in the magazine special this week. Just chuck some coins into the newspaper fund. PayPal.me/conquest of the useless. I intend coins. I intend to do a magazine review on Wednesday and Friday. So if you want to be the person who picks what magazine that is, just send me the price of the magazine, possibly a little on top, and tell me what magazine you want, and I will get it and we will review it. Japel says, I am no longer speechless, but I seem to be able to bring my... but all I seem to be able to say is, fuck off and oh, just kill me now. A bad score for the Mail. Yeah. String of Geds coins from Yuan there. I do like a Geds coin, but they are not legal tender. Dan Jones is thinking about the good dogs and can't bring himself to give the Mail a bad score. Use of Weapons gives it a -1 billion. Dan Jones 3142 is going to the big Tesco, so he'll review the non-league paper for me. I still want to hunt that. I'm trying to hunt it down. A Use of Weapons gives the Daily Mail a -1 billion. Slinkermeyer in with the triple negative nice. Okay, so that was today's paper thing. As I say, I'll be back at 1 p.m. tomorrow. If you are new to the show and not yet a subscriber, and you can subscribe for free to my daily media newsletter, go to brokenbottleboy.substack.com and check that out. If you enjoy it, you can always upgrade to a paid subscription where you get some other stuff. But the free subscription gets you a lot of stuff in the meantime. And finally, the last plug of the day. If you enjoy the show and want to talk to other people who enjoy the show, and why wouldn't you, get involved in the Discord. It's growing, and we get some good stuff in there. This is the link to the Discord, and you're very welcome to join. Okay, see you tomorrow at 1. In the meantime, find me on Twitter or in the Discord, and have a really good day. Cheers all.